Black Adam has won the box office for the second time in a row. For more on this weekend's box office hit, let's bring in Alexandra Canal. Alex.
Hi, Inez. Yes, the power of The Rock. Are we really surprised? Despite that low critic score on Rotten Tomatoes of just 39%, Black Adam delivered in week 2 another 27.7 million at the domestic box office, a drop of about 59% versus opening weekend. That's pretty standard for superhero films. And despite that low critic score that I mentioned, the movie currently has an audience score of 90%. And that's something that we've been seeing more and more of. And that word of mouth from the audience seems to be driving interest. So far, the movie has generated $111 million in domestic ticket sales, $250 million globally. But it wasn't all about superheroes at the box office. Elsewhere in the world of movies, Ticket to Paradise held strong in its second weekend, an additional $10 million, just a 39% drop versus opening weekend. Analysts that I've spoken with have said that this movie could symbolize a resurgence of the rom-com genre. Of course, we have the A-list star power of George Clooney and Julia Roberts. These films are relatively cheap to make, so perhaps we could see some more coming to the box office. And for this film in particular, analysts expect some momentum to carry through the end of the year. And speaking of low-budget films, let's talk a few successful horror films from this past weekend. We saw 4 crack the top 10, but I want to single out Smile because this has been just a home run for Paramount. Another 5.1 million this weekend, pushing ticket sales to a whopping 92 million.
And that's right. So speaking of that Halloween, those horror films, they help boost really the post-pandemic in the box office.
Yeah, Smile is just one of many examples of this when we speak about the horror genre in general. I spoke with Box Office Pro chief analyst Sean Robbins. He told me that the horror genre has been particularly resilient, especially post-COVID. If you take a look at the top 13 horror films that have debuted since the pandemic, they've represented about 10% of movie-going attendance during opening weekends. That's according to analytics platform Intelligence. The audience for these films, they skew mostly younger, and that's been a huge factor as we saw that younger audiences were the first to return to theaters. Now, for these movies that you're seeing on your screen, about 53% of the audience was under the age of 35, and that younger demographic is what's really going to push theaters in the long run. They're also inexpensive to make, as I mentioned previously, low risk, a low threshold to success. I hate to keep talking about Smile, but this is a prime example of this. It cost $17 million to produce. It debuted to $22 million, and now we see nearly $100 million in ticket sales. So, these types of films just prove that they can be successful any time of year, and they can be really easy entry levels to success when we think about the box office overall.
And the producers of those films, they're smiling right now.